Hi everyone, this is Ananta Paulus, and today I'm back with the fourth spiritual law of success, which is the law of least effort. In fact, in Vedic science, which is an age-old philosophy of India, this law is known as the law of economy of effort, and you might have even heard about the phrase, do less and accomplish more. So these phrases, they are really referring to the law of least effort. Sometimes what people call as miracles are really the law of least effort at work. When we don't understand the law of least effort, then we think that it is a miracle, when in reality, nature actually, if you think about it, nature is quite miraculous. Everything in nature is in and of itself a miracle. Things that we have taken for granted, they are really miracles. Like right now, there are so many miracles happening inside your body that you are not even aware of. If you look at a tree, there are so many miraculous things happening inside that tree that we are not able to perceive. So of course, everything in nature is miraculous. We are just not able to perceive it. And once in a while, when we do get a glimpse of it, we think it is miraculous, is something that doesn't really happen every single day, when in reality, miracles are happening every single day. That is because the law of least effort is constantly working in nature every single day. In fact, if you just look at a seed is not striving hard and working hard to sprout into a sapling. If you look at the birds, they are not working hard and trying to fly. The fish in the ocean, they are swimming. That's their nature. Similarly, babies, is their nature to be blissful. They don't have to try hard and meditate in order to be blissful. And similarly, human nature is meant to be blissful. Human nature is meant to be such that the things that we desire are meant to manifest for us in a way that is easy and effortless. It is meant for us. The reason it doesn't happen that way is because we are not working in accordance with the laws, the spiritual laws of success, the spiritual laws of nature. When we go against any of these laws, then things become hard, then manifestations become hard. Of course, because it's like you are trying to do something which is against the very nature of creation. So every time you are having a hard time manifesting something that you really want, really look deeper inside and see which of these 7 spiritual laws. Of course, we have not discussed all of them yet, unless you have already read the book. Then once I'm done recording all the 7 videos, just go through those and take an honest look into your own life and see that which one of these laws have you been defying. Because every single law works hand in hand with all other law. You cannot just pick and choose whatever is convenient for you. You cannot just pick one law and think that you are going to manifest what you want just by picking that one law, just by abiding to that one law. You have to use all of these laws together. It's like, I like to give this analogy that if you're living in a country, there are certain laws that you have to follow in that country if you want your life to be peaceful and smooth in that country. It doesn't matter if in your country those laws are not in place. It doesn't matter if in other countries those very same laws are considered illegal. But if you are in that country, you have to follow the laws of that country if you want your life to go smoothly. Similarly, if you want your life on planet Earth to go smoothly, there are certain laws of nature, there are certain universal laws actually. They are not just laws on planet Earth, but these laws are universal in nature. And so if you want to manifest what you desire, if you want your life to be a certain way, to be your way, then it is best to be aware of these laws and to consciously use these laws in your favor. So really the law of least effort is based on the fact that nature works effortlessly and in a manner that represents abandoned carefreeness. And the chapter begins with a very beautiful quote by Lao Tzu that says, "An integral being knows without going, sees without looking, and accomplishes without doing." I thought that was really beautiful. The reason nature's intelligence functions so effortlessly is because it is intuitive in nature, it is holistic in nature. It does not exclude anything or anybody. It is all inclusive in nature. And so if you want to apply the law of least effort into your life, you have to be all-inclusive too. You cannot only think about your own personal gain or your own personal benefit. In fact, the more expanded your sense of self is, the more easily you will be able to apply the law of least effort. Because then instead of just thinking about your own personal benefit, your own personal gain, your idea of the person would expand to much more beyond you. And when you do that, then automatically you are in sync with the universe, because the universe is not biased. The universe is not playing any games favoring one person over another. The universe is really a very fair place. It is not biased. I know a lot of people feel like there is bias in the universe because some people are just blessed to be born in certain families and to be born rich or to just have certain experiences in life, and others have to struggle for it. But I wouldn't go into too many details about that. But what it really has to do with is your energetic patterns or your karmic patterns that you have acquired over lifetimes. It is not something, we already spoke about this in the law of karma in another video. So if you haven't watched that video, then watch that video. I have also added the link to that video in the description below. So it is not, the universe is not imposing karma on you. Karma is something that you have created for yourself. So it is not the universe playing any kind of games or favoritism and picking someone over you. The universe is just equanimously working this very same way for every single person. As long as you follow these universal laws, it is going to work for you just the same way it works for anybody else. And least effort is expended when your actions are from a place of love, because the energy of love is what, to begin with, has created this whole creation in motion. So the energy of love is a very high vibrational energy. And when your actions are backed by the force of love, then automatically the whole universe literally conspires to get your desires, to manifest your desires. On the other hand, when you seek something, be it money, be it relationships, no matter what it is that you are trying to manifest, when you're trying to manifest something for the sake of the ego, you end up spending a lot of energy trying to control others, get others' approval, and also trying to put up a facade, chasing the illusion of happiness instead of enjoying happiness in the moment. When you are chasing something, when you are seeking something only for personal gain, then you are literally cutting off the flow of the universal flow of energy. This is because there is no separation at the universal level. When you are trying to create that separation is only at the ego level. And when you create that separation, and from that place of separation you are trying to accumulate wealth or whatever it is that you are trying to manifest, that will always lead to spending or wasting a lot of your energy. But the universe is not wasteful in nature. The universe is very efficient. Every single thing in the universe, just look at nature, how efficient nature is. Now, of course, you might be thinking that there are a lot of power-hungry people in the world who are very successful, who have a lot of money. So how in the world are these people so successful and they have so much wealth and so much money when they are actually very egocentric and very power-hungry? And that's a valid question to ask. Now, it really depends. This is just my interpretation, but I believe, in my experience with what I have seen, that it really depends on how you choose to define success. If success to you only means having a lot of money, sure, there are many ways to have money. You don't have to be spiritual to be rich, or you don't have to be non-spiritual to be rich. If you look around, there are spiritual people who are rich, and there are spiritual people who are poor. There are non-spiritual people who are rich, and there are non-spiritual people who are also poor. So spirituality or the lack of it, in my opinion, has nothing to do with whether you are rich or poor. So if being rich or having money is your only criteria for success, then sure, there are many ways to make money. But for me, my only criteria of success is not just having financial wealth. Of course, financial wealth can take care of a lot of things in your life, but I have firsthand seen people in my life who have a lot of money and they are still miserable. So money cannot take away misery. And money is definitely not everything. In fact, in my experience, I believe that there are three major areas, like really broadly speaking. You can always subdivide these broad areas into smaller subcategories. But broadly speaking, I feel that people have three areas they usually have problems with. One is their health, one is finances, and another is relationship. So if you just look at life broadly like that, then finances or your wealth is really 1/3 of the equation. The other 2/3 comprises of your health and your relationships. So there are a lot of successful people in the world who have acquired or accumulated a lot of wealth, a lot of money, and everything that money can buy, but their lives are not balanced. They have wealth, but they don't have health, or they don't have happy and satisfying relationships. If you are fine with that kind of success, sure, there are plenty of ways to make money. And definitely my videos are not really just the only ways how you could be wealthy and rich. If wealth is the only criteria, then you should be actually watching some other videos and not this one. So as I was saying, in my opinion, in my experience, wealth is only 1/3 of the equation, which is really like 33.33% to be very precise. If you go take any kind of exam, I don't know if in any country in the world, 33.33% is passing marks. So if I go take an exam, 33% is not even passing marks. So you don't even pass in an exam. How could you call being wealthy, only being wealthy and being rich as being a success in life when you wouldn't even pass with 33% marks? So in order to be considered to be successful in life, I believe at least you need to have 2 out of these 3 equations right. In fact, I would prefer to have a certain amount of balance in all of these 3 areas of life. Not just wealth, but wealth, health, and relationships. Because we have all seen that if you don't have good health, it doesn't matter how much money you have or how many people love you. But with bad health, will you be able to enjoy life? And now let's say you have health and you have money, but you don't have people in your life who love you or with whom you could enjoy this good health and all the money that you've got. What are you going to do with the good health and all the money in the world? So I really feel that health, wealth, and relationships, they all go hand in hand. And these 3 things, for sure, a certain amount of balance, a certain amount of fulfillment in all these 3 areas of life are required in order to be called really successful. In my opinion, only rich people are not successful if they are not truly fulfilled, if they don't have a kind of balance in all these 3 areas of life. Also, Deepak Chopra very wisely mentions in this book that you could think of your body as an energy storing mechanism. And based on what kind of activities you are involved in, those activities could either generate, store, or expend energy. When you are involved in activities that are egocentric in nature, that is for pleasing your ego, then you end up expending a lot of energy. You expend way more than you generate. Attention to the ego consumes the most amount of energy. And that's why when you are seeking power and control over others, you are being very wasteful with your energy, because that is what takes the most amount of energy. On the other hand, when your internal reference is your spirit. If you remember in a previous video, I spoke about being self-referential versus being object-referential. So being self-referential is when your point of reference is your soul or your spirit or the self. When your internal point of reference is the spirit, then the spirit does not care about getting control over anybody else. The spirit does not care about controlling or manipulating others. It doesn't even care about getting approval from others. It is immune to outside criticism. And because you are immune to outside criticism and because you don't care about controlling and manipulating others, you don't spend time and energy thinking how to control and manipulate others or trying too hard to get a certain kind of response from others, to get people's approval. It doesn't matter to you. So all that free energy is now available for you to be creative. In fact, when we free up our energy in such a way that we are no more egocentric, so we are not spending time and energy on creating this whole outward image that we want to create and portray out into the world. A lot of time and energy goes every single day. We don't even realize because we are not so conscious. But if you just start becoming mindful, you will start noticing how much of your time and energy you are spending on doing things which you are really just doing to put up a certain outward appearance to the world. So when you free up the time and energy that you spend on putting up this whole image of grandeur, personal grandeur, representing a certain kind of personal grandeur to the world and upholding that image all the time, then you will see that you can actually get a glimpse of the true grandeur of the universe. And then the book mentions that there are 3 ways or 3 components to the law of least effort, or 3 ways in which you can apply the law of least effort in your daily life. And the very first way is acceptance. And acceptance is something that is so powerful. In fact, just recently, I took this inner engineering program taught by Sadhguru. Of course, it was online these days. And one of the main themes in that was also acceptance. And one of the main things I have learned from my own personal life is also the same, that acceptance is so important. Because until and unless you accept something, you don't have the power to change it. If you are living in denial or rejection, you cannot change that which you have denied. If you walk into a house which is yours, but you pretend that it's not yours, then if you don't like something about that house, you cannot change it because it is not yours. On the other hand, when you take acceptance, then responsibility comes hand in hand with acceptance. And responsibility is not blame. It is not putting the blame on someone else or even on yourself. A lot of people misunderstand responsibility as being some kind of a blame game, but responsibility is not a blame game. In fact, the word responsibility simply means the ability to respond. And we all have the ability to respond to every single thing that is happening to our life. And in fact, every single thing that is happening in our lives is happening because we have created it. Sometimes we create it consciously, sometimes we have created it unconsciously, but we have created it all. And so when we start taking responsibility and we live at a state of acceptance, then the third thing is defenselessness. And defenselessness comes automatically with acceptance and responsibility. Because what happens is, until unless you are at a certain level of acceptance, that if there is something in your life that is upsetting, but you are not accepting it, you are fighting against it, you are resisting against it, you are literally fighting against the whole of creation, you are fighting against the universe when you are not in acceptance. However, when you start accepting, and acceptance does not mean giving up, it does not mean playing the victim. Acceptance is a very powerful state to be in, because once you accept something completely, only then do you have the power to change it. When you struggle against the present moment, you are struggling against the entire universe, because the present moment is the way it is for a reason. And when you are able to accept it, then responsibility also comes hand in hand with acceptance. And now that you have acceptance, then you can consciously decide as to what kind of meaning do you want to give to that particular experience. Because now it is your responsibility to give whatever meaning you want to give. Whether you want to give it a positive meaning, as in whether you want to see the lesson or the learning, the experience that you gain from every single situation in life, or whether you just want to stay in self-pity and just blame somebody else or even blame yourself and just feel like a victim. Once you are in complete acceptance, then you have the ability to choose wisely and to choose whether you want to learn something from a situation or whether you just want to deny or reject it. With acceptance and with responsibility, you realize that this moment is the way it is for a reason. It is the way it is. The people who are there in your life right now, whatever it is that you're experiencing in your life right now, everything is happening for a reason, and there is a meaning behind it. And that meaning is serving your own evolution. And when you start looking at life in this way, then you could convert even a tyrant or a tormentor to a teacher, because now it is completely up to you. Until unless you take responsibility, you will be playing the role of a victim. But once you have accepted that it is the way it is for a reason, and then you have also taken responsibility for that event, now you are in an empowering situation where you can choose to learn from that experience. You can choose to convert a tyrant or a tormentor into a teacher. You can actually end up learning something beautiful from a so-called upsetting situation. And the third principle of the law of least effort is defenselessness, which means that your awareness is established in a state of defenselessness. You are not trying to defend yourself. You are not trying to defend your point of view. Because what happens is, so many times in life, especially when I'm working with my coaching clients, I've seen this time and again. And of course, I'm guilty of doing that myself in the past many times. And even now, if I'm not aware, I might slip into that mode of thinking where I'm trying to defend or justify my viewpoint. And what happens when you're trying to defend or justify your viewpoint, you don't realize that you're actually arguing for your own limitations. And knowingly or unknowingly, we are constantly arguing for our own limitations by constantly justifying and being defensive about our problems or about things in our life which are not working out the way we want them to be. And we are often trying to convince others as well to see how we are the victims of a situation. And if others are not convinced and if others don't agree with us, we often get upset with them too. And I've seen this happen so many times when people are just coming up with excuses why they cannot have which they want, why they cannot have the relationship that they want, why they cannot have the finances that they want, why they cannot have the health that they want. People are coming up with all sorts of excuses that they have such a busy schedule that they don't have time for working out, or they don't have time for meditation on a daily basis. There's just too many things to do at home. They have kids, they have husband, they have work. Or when it comes to relationships, they're not beautiful enough, they're not good enough, they're not funny enough, they're not intelligent enough. Whatever excuses that people just come up with, random excuses, they might not even be true, but they are holding on to those excuses and they are going about telling everybody that this is why I cannot have that relationship that I want. This is why I cannot get married, or this is why I cannot have the money that I want because I don't have the experiences, I don't have the skill sets, I'm not smart enough, I don't really know how to do this. And they just keep on using all these excuses to justify the fact that they cannot have what they want. When in reality, of course, you can have whatever it is that you want. But when we start being so defensive and when we start justifying our point of view and our own limitations, then we are working against our own selves and we don't even realize that. And one thing that Deepak Chopra says very beautifully in this book is, when you have no point to defend, you do not allow the birth of an argument. If you do this consistently, you stop fighting and resisting. You will fully experience the present, which is a gift. And when you are able to fully experience the present, then joy becomes your second nature. And all the resentments and the hurtfulness that we go around carrying in life, they just drop. And that is when we can become childlike. There are so many spiritual teachers who talk about becoming childlike. And this is what becoming childlike means. You don't feel defensive, you don't have any resentments, you're not carrying around any past hurts or grudges. You are completely living in the present. So those are the three ways you can apply the law of least effort in your life: through acceptance, responsibility, and defenselessness. So I hope you liked today's video, and if you haven't already, then subscribe to my channel to get notified about my upcoming videos about the remaining 3 spiritual laws of success out of the 7 spiritual laws. Also, like and share this video and leave your comments below. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.